Everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Journey to Legacy podcast. My name is Wayne Veldman, and our guest today is Mr. Zarar Ameen, the actual CEO and founder of Launch My Agency. They are focused on helping entrepreneurial-hearted individuals, entrepreneurs at heart, but are still maybe stuck in a 9 to 5 grind, escape, build up a business that they can be proud of, that can set themselves and their families up for future financial success, and then actually help a ton of people. Zorar tells me that they actually turn away about 45% of applicants that come to work with them or want to work with them because a lot are just there to chase money. But they are looking to work with individuals, to partner with individuals that actually want to genuinely help others, genuinely make a change. You guys are going to enjoy the interview a ton. So without any further ado, I give you Mr. Zarar Ameen. Zarar, thanks for being here today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely my pleasure. Kick us off. Please tell everybody what some stuff you're working on today.
Just in general, or like a little bit of business
Give
wise?
me general, some business, some personal. Tell us about.
Yeah. So I've actually started the carnivore diet very recently, and that's what I'm on. Yeah, it's actually, it's amazing. I've been losing a lot of weight, mental clarity. I sleep like 4 or 5 hours a night now. I used to sleep 8, 9. So it's pretty cool, a little bit on the personal side. Business wise, just looking into like the next offer that we're going to help launch for one of our clients. Actually, we're partnering with one of our clients that we helped him, about 5, 6 months ago. So we are becoming business partners officially. So that's pretty cool.
Sweet. Personal side, focus really heavy on health, wellness. Looks what it looks like. And of course, actually partnering with a past client, a current client to build something new. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, we don't, I mean, actually, it's interesting you bring that up, right? We never want to view any client past. We always want to have some sort of relationship forever and ever. At least that's our intention. Kind of like a marriage, right? You want to have a long lasting marriage. Same exact concept. So, sometimes the clients come in for one reason. We help them out with XYZ. And then, eventually they have different desires or different things that we can still potentially help them with. So we just kind of pivot, just like in this specific situation here.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So they're really not clients, right? You are bringing on partners, right? Because you're hoping that they
Yeah.
stick with you
Yeah.
like a marriage for forever, right? And now in this instance, it ended up being a little bit of a different pivot.
Correct. Exactly. So that's one of the things is like, we don't just bring on random clients. I mean, we're not coaches. We're not like a course or anything like that. It's more of a done for you element where we just kind of come in and just build a whole business up from scratch. So we look for business partners. And just like this client, we helped him out with XYZ things. He got too much good results where he was like, I kind of don't know what to do. And I need I need a lot more help than I had thought. So we were like, all right, we have a very large team. We can just partner with you and partner with you even further and take it to the next level.
That's awesome. I love the customization piece. Like, because there's just endless business now that are super cookie cutter, rinse and repeat. But before we dive too deep, so you're the CEO of Launch My Agency. Tell everybody, what is Launch My Agency? What do you guys do?
Yeah, so what we do is we help entrepreneurs at heart, people who are, kind of like maybe stuck in that 9 to 5 rat race. What we do is we come in and help them launch and scale a wildly profitable digital marketing agency. And there's different types of different digital marketing agencies, right? So specifically, whatever their current skill sets, passion, mission, and vision is, we build that agency according to that. And Wayne, just according to your point, highly customized, right? So it's not just cookie cutter of like, here's a template, good luck, like never hear from us again. Absolutely not. It's hyper customized specifically to what's best for our business partners and our clients, right? So that's kind of like in a nutshell what we do. And we just give our team. Like currently speaking, we have about 50 full-time employees. So, media buyers, graphic designers, copywriters, account managers, every little thing that it takes to have a digital marketing agency. Well, we just like license it out, right? Instead of them having to, recruit, train, you do all that stuff that is just a headache, right? And of it potentially working, well, in this case, we just guarantee the results that, that you're going to get. If you do the things we ask you to, you'll have an agency that's guaranteed to make at least six figures for the year. So, that's something that we stand by, and we're able to do it similar to like a McDonald's franchise, right? It's like McDonald's has a proven systems, processes, people, they have the ice cream machine, they have every little detail dialed in, and they just license it out. Same exact thing for us.
Interesting. Almost a franchise model for agencies. Is it all they're all digital marketing agencies you're focused on?
Correct. Well, I mean, you could. It's an agency, right? It's a service-based business. Now, you could have a sales agency. You can have actually today, just like 2 hours ago, before this, I was working on a client, and she's launching an HR service agency, right? So she's trying to recruit people and trying to staff people. So it's like a staffing agency, right? It's the same concept. Or even people who are like coaches, right? Who have courses and who have coaching programs, we help them as well. Because at the end of the day, like the mechanics and the principles and the structure never really changes.
Interesting. So everything from coaches, like you said, sales agency, HR and staffing. That's super interesting for me to hear also. I mean, how did
Yeah.
you land?
Some people have like,
I'm, go, go ahead. Do you have a thought?
sorry, I was just going to say like, a digital marketing agency, there's so many different things. Like it could be a media buying agency where you only focus on Facebook, Google, YouTube ads, right? Or you could have like a graphic design agency where you just actually, one of my very close friends, he's done all the landing pages and everything for Andrew Tate. And he just does design. Like he doesn't do any media buying, nothing. Right. So I told him, I'm like, why don't you just partner with someone who does media buying? Like you can have a strategic partnership, right? And there's in another case, there could be a company that only does media buying and they don't do graphic design. So you guys can like just have, that's how you can also scale into, wherever you're trying to get to. So, there's different types and styles of a digital marketing agency. It's not limited, right? And that's the thing. That's what like for us is like the new way of launching a digital marketing agency versus the old way.
Interesting. The new way of launching an agency versus the old way, right? You can scale in those sort of manners. Let me let me throw you right in here to the deep end, right? So you just mentioned, for example, this one friend that has just designed for Andrew Tate's companies. Okay, you said why don't you partner with a media buyer? Talk to me about your perception of partnerships because you had some really bad ones in the past.
Yeah, I mean it's a double-edged sword. It is one of the most fruitful things you can do, but if done improperly, if done incorrectly, you can really screw yourself up as well, right? I still firmly believe it's just like this, right? We've all been through a relationship that failed, right? Like for whatever reason. But that doesn't mean that we just give up on marriage or a relationship, right? So it's the same concept. Somewhere down the road, if you take full responsibility of your actions, you probably made a bad decision, or you maybe done something that wasn't, accurate or whatever. Same exact concept when it comes to business. It's a very, very beneficial thing, especially when you have complementary relationships, right? Where you're, for example, partner one is maybe very skilled at marketing and sales. Partner two is good at operations, finance, legal, whatever the case is, right? So the most important thing is just like making sure principles, morals, and ethics we are on the same page on those. Skill set we can get later on, but the most important is those pieces. If you don't take that into account, who cares about the skill sets? Later, there's something gonna happen down the road where it's just not gonna end well.
Sure, sure. So just like how you say in like, relationships, we're talking about husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. We've all had relationships fail. That doesn't mean that we give up on them overall, right? And so relating that directly to business also, just because there's been some bad partnerships, business relationships in the past, we shouldn't give up on them. And you're talking about that you should actually build relationships and partnerships first based off of each other's principles, morals, and ethics. Like how can we figure those things out? That's pretty deep. I don't have years to vet necessarily my partner's morals and ethics.
That's a very good point, and you're absolutely correct. So I'll just tell you what I've done, right? So I'm in business with my whole family, my dad, my sister, my brother, even my mom helps sometimes, right? But we're all business partners. Plus, I have my best friend from high school, right? So we all figured it out together, right? So I can't really speak more for like business partnerships that just form, in 6 months or whatever. I can't speak for that because I've never done it successfully. But what I do know is the people that I've known in the past, then we just kind of like, shook hands and we're like, let's figure this out together. Cause I just knew who they were, so that's just my story.
Okay, gotcha. So it sounds like, well, then let me ask you this though. Right? So you just mentioned that the people that you're in partnership with, right? Entire family, your friend from high school, right? Your clients that you bring on, you mentioned earlier that those are partners, right? They're not just
Mm,
clients. You are building long-term
yes.
relationships with them. How are you vetting them? If you know,
Oh yeah. Very, very good question. Now, we actually disqualify. I think I checked the numbers recently. So, about 45% of people that we just purely disqualify from the application, right? So, there is very similar to a McDonald's franchise. If you're trying to get a McDonald's franchise, you can't just walk in with a credit card, say, "Hey, here's $2 million, and give me my franchise." No, there's a rigorous interview process, right? So same thing for us. Now, of course, it's not $2 million for us, but we have a similar structure where we're like really making sure that this is going to be a fruitful marriage essentially for both parties, right? Because at the end of the day, what I believe in is business needs to be a win-win for anyone included, whether it's the partners, the vendors, the clients, the contractors, whatever it is. We just have to figure out a way to make it a win-win for them. And if they're not looking, because I have someone's back, but I don't have the guarantee of do they have my back. So literally from the application, and then we have, a partnership director who works really, really close with me. They have a call with a client, sometimes multiple calls, just to really make sure that they're actually going to be the right business partner for us. So we won't even offer if we feel like this person's not it. We won't even go into the offer. Like you can't even pull out your credit card and say, I want to. No, we need to make sure that we're to some level we are aligned and we're pretty direct with what we're looking for, right? I have your back. Please have my back when things, go a little up and down because this is a business partnership. Like if I'm going to give you 50 full-time employees as your own, I'm going to give you all my case studies that I've worked 8, 9 years, put my brand and my name on the line for you. I really want to make sure that you don't destroy it and you're actually a good business partner as well, right? So, we have that. And then it doesn't stop until like, even after they come on board, we have like an onboarding process, right? So we understand what they're like psychologically wise, like, what kind of person are they? And from there, we're able to make a decision like, all right, this person we're able to give a invite. And once we give that invite, then we're locked in and, we're good to go. So far, it's been a very amazing process, by the way. We've been able to just like have, it's kind of like a gate that we have. And the gate has been amazing. Like we're good at picking the right business partners for us so far.
okay, great to hear. Interesting, right? So you guys are said around 45% get turned away because you want to make sure it's always a win-win. You're confident in your abilities to help others, right? You have to make sure that the other party is also similar. Talk to me some more specifics, right? What does this gate look like? Because I'm hoping that people that are listening, they don't have a staff of 50. They don't have all of these individuals that are vetting people. They don't have this forms and application process dialed in yet. What are some specifics that we can be looking for so that we also, I mean, because turning away almost half of the applicants, that's wild to think, right? So give me some specifics.
That's, by the way, that's not even on the call. So 45% of people, they can't even get a call with us. But once they do, we still disqualify some people. But really, like, and again, it's our goal isn't to just to disqualify people. We would love to partner with people, but at the end of the day, again, just like you said, it has to be a win-win for everyone, right? So one of the most important things that we're looking for, anyone who we feel like is just there for quick cash, just there for the quick money, we're just not their champion, right? And look, I'm not against money. I mean, money is a big component of business, right? Of course, we're in business for a reason. But it's like when you optimize for money, like you will just screw everything up because now you're only like that is your number one thing, and everything in between, your employees, your contractors, your clients, how are you going to treat them? If you only view everyone as like a dollar figure, how are you going to treat them, right? So the moment we even get an inclination of this person's just purely only obsessed about money, well, that's like a little bit of a red flag for us, right? We won't just disqualify someone like that. We'll probe a little bit deeper to really make sure that we're aligned. And then from there, it's like, do they actually genuinely want to help the clients that they want to work with, or are they just looking for a quick buck, right? Because again, we are in business hopefully for years and years and years to come. And sometimes we like, for example, one of our clients, we helped him sell his digital marketing agency in about, I think it was 2.5 years for $13 million. right? 13 million. So it's like, if we're doing all this heavy lifting, and that's our, at least that's our intention, we want our clients and our business partners that we're looking for to also have the same kind of specifics in their mind to be able to say, all right, we're going to do this long term. Now, this doesn't mean that the money comes in like 4 years from now. Absolutely not. Again, our guarantee in the first 90 days, we help people get from 0 to 10K a month, guaranteed in writing, as long as they do the things that we ask them to. So, it's like money's one thing, but it's like who you are as a person. If you're going to be a problematic client, if you're going to just like bother us all the time constantly, then we're just probably not your champion, right? So we're able to get that from just the conversation. And actually sometimes, not sometimes, a lot of the times, I personally also hop on some of these calls myself just to make sure that they're actually the right fits. So it's not some random sales rep or person who's just commission breath trying to get someone in. No, it's my brother most of the time, and sometimes it's myself as well.
Nice. Okay, I'm with you. That piece where you said, right, don't chase the quick cash, right? That's an immediate disqualification. You want people that genuinely want to help other people. Tell me some stories here. Where did you learn this? Right? Because you started in entrepreneurship early. So you can take us all the way back. And if you are like most young entrepreneurs, we do chase quick cash. And so what happened? How did you adopt this mindset? How can people that are still young, early entrepreneurs realize that that's not the route, that's not the path to go?
Yeah, I mean, it all honestly started with my dad, right? I remember he used to work corporate, 9 to 5, good jobs, Verizon, Sony, some really good high paying, at least in our community at the time, 150 to 200K a year kind of jobs. He had good respect and everything like that. So he was like the main foundation for me starting in business. And a lot of the things, maybe some of the principles and some of the morals and ethics, that he's the one who instilled this in me. And honestly, he's my, inspiration. Mind if I go a little bit deeper into that? Yeah. And the reason why I really want to go into it is like maybe a lot of the people kind of listening to this can probably resonate with this. I remember in 2011, Sony got hacked, and they got hacked for a lot of money. I think they were losing, I don't know how much they were losing per day. It was in the millions and millions of dollars. My dad was one of the most important people that they had who was actually trying to fix that, right? And he was working nonstop, 36 hours straight, no sleep. And I remember him one day, he came back home, right? And he just literally collapsed in the living room. He just fell. And he was conscious, but he couldn't move. Like, we're looking at him and he's like the letter C. He was just like stuck like that. He just, maybe it was like a pinched nerve or whatever it was. He just could not physically move. And I remember, my mom and I, we called 911. We were like, what is happening? We're like nervous, scared, anxious, all these kind of emotions running in. And me, I was, I was kind of young as well. I was very happy for him to come back. But then when I saw him like that, I'm like, what's going on? Right. And I remember looking at him, like in his eyes, he just felt helpless, right? He just felt like he let me down or something. And the ambulance people came, they put him in the stretcher. And I still remember as doors were closing, like the look in his eyes told me the whole story. And that was the day where I drew that line in the sand and said, I need to be successful. I cannot work for someone else. And all the things that my dad used to tell me, like, son, make sure you become an entrepreneur one day. Don't be stuck in this 9 to 5 rat race. It's just not worth it. Not worth it for your health, for your mental thing. All the bills are just every single month. You're making 10, 15K a month, but it's all gone because, the world that we live in, right? I remember him telling me all those things. And that was the day where it actually hit for me, where I actually felt like, okay, now I understand what he meant, right? And that was the day I made a decision that I will 100% be successful and I will be an entrepreneur.
Wow, man, your dad was hustling, working 9 to 5, solid jobs, right? For Verizon, Sony, and like you said, 2011 hit, and he was hustling and grinding, trying to fix things, and just it almost killed him, huh? And that made you realize that's not the way.
100%. And that was like the line in the moment, right? Another moment that I remember is like, as a kid, he was such a great dad, by the way. And like a lot of the success people tell me, you're still young, you're successful. I don't try to take any credit. I'm like, my parents, my mom and my dad, honestly, they're the ones. I'm not some special. I'm really not, right? They instilled really good stuff in us. And I remember one of the things he wanted me to do was he wanted me to practice self-defense, right? Karate, kung fu. So I remember taking those classes, but he couldn't show up because he was working all the time. And as a kid, I was like, I honestly did it for me. I didn't want to do it for me. I wanted to do it for him because he really just loved it, right? I wanted to be like he wanted me to be like Jackie Chan or whatever. And he just couldn't show up to those classes. And I knew he never told me about it, but again, I could just sense it that he just feels like heartbroken. He just feels like he's let me down. And I can't be mad at him, or it's just a circumstance that he's in. He's always working from 9 to 5. It was actually way more than that, right? Like they would have him working. I remember one time he told me his manager at like 5 p.m. would be like, "All right, guys, it's time to start working." Like literally, you would say that, right? So it's like, man, like that 9 to 5. Sometimes it's more like nine to 10, right? 9 to 10 p.m. And again, it's like 5 days a week. Saturdays, you're just broken, So when do you have time for your family? Like when do you have time for your loved ones? And are we just in this rat? Are we just made as human beings just to be like stuck in this rat race forever and ever and ever, and just listen to what they tell us to do, or are we gonna take this and like do something of our own? The choice is yours.
Good for you for actually seeing it and learning from your family, right? They say that humans we repeat history over and over again, right? Like we don't learn. And so you saw a couple of these instances, right, where your dad almost got worked to death, or he wanted you to practice self-defense karate, but he couldn't come to the practices or the meets or whatever it is, and it made you realize like, wow, what is this rat race, right? Working 9 to 5, 5 o'clock comes around, it's like, now it's time to work, everybody. Like, did you ever have like a regular 9 to 5 job?
No, but actually, you know what's interesting? So my dad, he was a great employee, by the way. He's again, like anything he touches was like exceptional at it, right? His manager gave me, because she was like, oh, my dad's name is Natik, right? So she was like, oh, I just want Natik 2.0, right? And she heard about that. I was trying to launch this. At the time, I was trying to launch my digital marketing agency, right? I was like 18, I think 18, 19 years old. First and only. Like, we have a couple of other companies now, but we still run our agency. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was just working on that, right, from the basement. And so she gave me an internship for $24,000 for 3 months, which is, I mean, it's pretty crazy. I had no degree, right? Nothing. It was just because I was the son of my dad. And, my dad was the best, like, in his group. So she was stoked. She was like, I need to meet this guy. And I actually turned it down. And that got like the whole department like, what happened? Who gives, like, Verizon doesn't just randomly give out $24,000, for 3 months internships to random 18-year-olds. It's for special people, right? And I declined them. Right? In hindsight now, I probably should have taken it because I would have learned a lot. But I was just like, in my head, I was like, I don't want the golden handcuffs. I don't, $8,000 a month is a lot of money for an 18-year-old kid. What if that becomes my drug and I'm like, oh, I can just have this? Because what's the next step? If I knew I was going to do great there, right? And then the next thing is they're probably going to give me a job offer for 100K, 150K a year. And that's it. I'm done. All my dreams are gone out the window, right? So I was like, no, I'm not. And I remember he told me the whole department was like, we got to meet this guy. Who is he? And I never took it.
You said no. You said you thought to yourself, I can't get hooked on this drug, right? Of this quote
Yes.
unquote guaranteed paycheck. So there are millions of people out there that are hooked on this drug, right? They do it for the money. I have friends every single day that tell me this. Like, oh, I wish I could quit. I wish I could chase my dreams, but I gotta pay for my apartment, gotta pay for my car, right? It's people that are hooked on this drug. How can they get off of it? I'll leave it as broad as that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a very I think it's worse than cocaine or any of those drugs, honestly. And no one even talks about it, right? Because it's the norm. And it's very risky, especially like if you have a family, right? You have bills to pay, you have a family to feed, you have a roof, you have to keep a roof over your head. How are you like, how do you launch your own thing not knowing when your next paycheck's gonna come from? So it's like all the fears that everyone has, I completely understand. I 100% understand that, right? But also at the same time, what I understand is God or whoever you want to believe in has put us on this world to hopefully be the best versions of ourselves. So are we just a paycheck? Like, is that it? We're going to like live to 65, 70 years old and then go on retirement and that call it a day. Is that it? Or are we going to like, because we're capable for more 100% as a human. You like, we all operate probably on like 3% level, right? Even myself, I'm like, when I realize like what my potential is every day, I'm like, man, I'm just operating on such a small scale, right? I need to like get my stuff together. And a lot of times people don't even have that self-awareness left anymore because they're just so burnt out. They're working salaried slaves, right? And they go home, they're, at night now they're just kind of sleep and they have to repeat that thing. So the system is kind of designed also in a way where it doesn't even have you question these things again, right? But it's up to us, right? Like anyone who's listening to this, there's a chance that you unfortunately struggle from, this entrepreneurial bug that we all have, right? It just bites us. And we're like, even though we may have this job, we're like, deep down, we know what's right. We know what we want to do. But a lot of times we're just like, we feel like we're kind of just stuck in that thing, right? So what I recommend, right, is not quitting it cold turkey. If you want to, you can, right? I'm no one to tell you. But if I was to put myself in your shoes, it's like a slow transition, right? Maybe start working a few hours a day on your side hustle, on your business, right? Learn, because there is an element of learning to some level, right? You need to know because it's a very different mindset from going from being a worker where you're told what to do every single day versus being an entrepreneur where you now have to think for yourself, right? So if you just go cold turkey, it's like, it's a pretty big, massive mental shift and mental change, which is completely understandable. So let's run it on your terms. Like, let's run it in a way where it makes sense for everyone, right? So a slow transition of like, all right, let me put in a few hours a day, but be consistent with it. And the number one thing though is what you do. It's not about how hard you row the boat. It's about what boat you're in. With this information, like you're listening to this podcast, right? Whoever's listening right now, you're listening to me, then you're listening to so many other people as well. And someone else may have a different perspective than myself. And we both may be successful. So now from your perspective, you're going to be as confused as ever. You're like, what do I do first? I don't even know what to do, right? So it's up to you to have that self-awareness to know what to pick and then just commit to that and do the 10% that's going to move the 90% for you. Just do the highest leverage activities you can do in the beginning. And then once you start getting some traction slowly, then you can start to phase out of that 9 to 5 and kind of go from there.
Yeah. It's tough, dude. It's super, super tough, right? I hear it. I feel it also that it's easy for, I don't know, it could be easy from somebody for the outside to say, like, no, just jump in, just do it. Like, why not? Like, you see all these other people doing it. Like, nobody's that special. So you can do it also. But your advice of take it slowly, step by step, it's the same advice that I give. It's hilarious because, sort of like you, it's not the advice that I took, it's not the route
Yeah.
that I went. But looking at it from what I know now, like I probably, if I had to do it again, I would pivot a little bit and I would do that slow transition because it's not easy at all. Um,
Well,
Learned,
that's
right?
my
Then walk,
exact.
then run.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. And that's what you're saying is very, very important. And that's my biggest problem with these so-called gurus or coaches or these online course creators. They need to tell you that so they can sell their stuff. Like they just have to tell you. What else are they gonna say, right? Like go complete cold turkey, buy my thing. It's like, is it in the best interest of of the individual? Probably not. especially if they have a kid, family. Like these people don't even think of these things, which is why I launched my agency. Like literally, I just got so pissed of looking at people just getting scammed left and right, and myself included, right? Like I've bought every single course and listened to all these coaches and all these gurus, and there's some good ones out there for sure, but it's so rare to find the right ones where you have to just go through like 10 of these courses or coaches to find one good one, right? So it's like I wanted to take that power back and give the market something where I can just showcase to them, like, this is the only thing you need to do. This is the 10%. That's going to give you the 90% of the results. And this is designed in your best interest. And when I say that, it's like, I literally made this for myself. I wish we had this. Like, if we had this, I would have paid everything that I've had in my account to be able to get access to something like this, right? Where it's just designed specifically for the people that we're talking to here.
Nice. The people that want a different way, right? They don't know necessarily where to start. They don't know what that 10% is that they need to do because the work hard, right? Just keep working hard. That's not the answer. That's not the ticket. That's what society feeds us.
It's
There
not.
are. I want to hear a couple more stories here, right? Tell everybody about your first agency. You guys were growing it. You pivoted to software. You grew really, really fast. What what happened?
That's it's a so okay, so we had our first digital marketing agency, and at the time we started working with Porsche, um, Airbus, like some pretty good sized brands. And I mean, I was like, I think 19 and a half or 20 years old at the time. So we scaled it to about 30 ish, 25 to 30 employees at the time. And we had good success, like what most people would consider success, and we automated a lot of it. And that's the beauty, right? Like for me, I think for both of us, we also agree to the same thing of like, it's not just about this brute force of just work. No, let's use our brains. God or whoever you want to believe in has given us really good brains. If we tap into it, let's leverage systems, processes, SOPs, documents, and let's leverage that and be smart about how we run our business, right? So we took that advice, the same thing that we tell people now. We took it for ourselves and we automated it. And I remember myself and my business partner, we were like, we go to these meetings, like in our own internal, employee meetings, and we're like useless. We're just sitting there. We're like, okay, like I don't have anything to give. And the team's like, we got it, sir. We're good. So we became useless to our own business, right? And it was a little depressing, right? Because we're like, in the beginning, you want to be this maybe macho man or whatever. You feel like exactly, right? We all have that a little bit, right? And then once you realize that if you empower people to do the things and you give them everything that you can for their success, right? All the tools, the money, the resources. And if you're a really good leader, well, they're just going to do everything for you. And now you're just like, what do I do? Right. So that's what happened to us. So we just started traveling the world and it got old, right? Like, how many cities are we going to explore? Like, it just comes to a point where you're like, all right, we're entrepreneurs at heart. We need to launch a new business or do something else, right? So then we had that business automated. And then we stepped into the software side, right? So apps, games. So our digital marketing agency was the pivotal point that not only gave us the cash flow that we wanted to be able to start new ventures, new businesses, but it also gave us a skill set, which is the most important skill set that you can ever get, which is marketing and sales and fulfillment and operations, right? Like everything that you need for any business. So it's like we had the touch of gold, and you pair that up with being young. Now we had maybe a little bit of ego, right? We're normal people. So we went into the software side and we scaled that thing very, very fast, right? We understood marketing, we understood HR, we understood all these components that it took for our agency. So we went from 30 employees for our agency to about 120 employees for our software house and agency combined in like 5 months, 6 offices in 5 months. Exactly. And we had a problem that most people probably would wish for, which is like going too big, scaling too hard. Trust me, you don't want that problem. Right. So I can go on what happened there, but that's kind of like how we got to the 120 employee mark.
Yeah, so that's how you got to the 120 employee mark, right? So grew an
Yeah.
agency, you you built a business that was operating without you, which sounds like the dream, which I think is the dream for most people. But if you're a true entrepreneur at heart, right, you feel now a little useless, right? So you want to do something more. And so now you guys pivoted to software. But I mean, it sounds like the story here is all sunshines and rainbows. Nice. You grew really fast. You've got what, five, six offices, 120 employees. So life's amazing right now, right? That's current day. Is that correct?
Well, so when we got to 120 employees, right? Because we scaled too fast, and because to your point, what you said in the beginning, we partner with the wrong people, unfortunately, right? So we thought that everyone has good intentions, everyone's a good human being, because we were like in our own little bubble. But we realize the world is not like that. And especially when you add in a lot of money, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, well, people can change, right? And unfortunately, it's kind of like we got stabbed in the back, right? So one thing led to another. Basically, that whole business, we were supposed to have operators who were supposed to run the business. Turns out that they started stealing from us. They started plugging like the code that we would develop. They would just take it 3-4 months worth of work effort that we had. They would just plug in USBs, take the code, and now we're like, what happened? The employees are leaving. Like, it was just a nightmare, right? It was just a nightmare. And at the end of the day, it's like self accountability and responsibility. Like, we have to look internal. Why this happened? Well, even though technically it wasn't our fault, it still is, right? That's one of the things that I'll say to anyone listening. Everything is your fault. Whether something good happens or bad, it's your fault. Like, if you have that mindset, that is the biggest needle mover from myself, for my personal life and my business life, that I'm like the most fulfilled and happiest person ever. Like, I don't care what happens. At the end of the day, it was my fault. I could have or should have done something that was different or better, right? So I learned that lesson the hard way. But anyways, that kind of like when it fizzled out and we're like, oh my God, this is brutal. What do we do, right? The question was, I mean, things got very difficult and we were like, do we get a job or do we like, what are we supposed to do? We wanted to quit, right? Just like anyone else. Like,
Things got difficult, right? So you guys grew super fast. People started stealing code. Amazing. I just want to reiterate this piece of self accountability, right? If you can be self accountable, everything good that happens to you, it's your fault. Everything bad that happens to you, it's your fault, right? You're responsible. It like lifts this huge. It honestly lifts a burden off of you, in my personal opinion, which is great. But I said things got bad. What do you mean things got bad? Because I think this is a big lesson, because I want us then to take this story of rock bottom and what did you do? Because a huge message that you share, right, is that success is all about how you handle obstacles, right? The failure is a necessary part of the process, to treat obstacles as stepping stones. And you are in this story about to hit a massive obstacle.
for sure. I mean, we were unfortunately set up pretty bad where it's like, because we were good at marketing and sales, we were like the front face. The operators that we partnered with, they kind of like put us up front, so we could take the blame and just use this as a golden crutch, right? So in hindsight, like when I look at it, I'm like, that's what they did, right? So like, do you want me to go into the stories, or do you want me to kind of like go into like what kind of happened?
What I mean, the stories and what kind of happened are one and the same to me. I mean, I'm over here on the edge of my seat. I already know kind of what's going to happen, but give us some story. And like I said, I'm the most interested in like this pivot that's about to happen, right? The transition for, spoiler alert, when you're about to hit rock bottom. What happened then?
Yeah,
How did you work your way out of it?
it's I mean, so we were young millionaires at the time because of our digital marketing agency, thankfully. We had to take the revenues we were making from the agency and just give it back to the software house as well. So like we're funneling all this cash, but now the agency is kind of like struggling as well. So everything just kind of just like everything just basically blew up in our faces, right? And I remember like, and by the way, we went $850,000 in business debt. 850K.
$1,000 from Young Money millionaires to Young Money negative million.
Yes. And like right before that, right? We were literally, I remember we were giving away cars, brand new cars to our top management, right? The company grew so fast. We had so much cash that was coming in. We were just giving away cars, motorcycles, I remember. And maybe in the edit, we can put up a little picture of that as well to show you guys. So from that to like a few months later, negative 850K. And I was like 23, I believe at the time, something like that. And I was like, oh, okay, interesting. What do we do? So my whole self-identity. And I think this is a very important subject that a lot of people don't even talk about. Again, because I don't know, like these course creators or these coaches, they never talk about this. But it's like the internal dialogue and the internal conflicts that before we go to sleep at night, we all have that little voice. Maybe you're not good enough. Maybe you should quit. Like maybe they're all right. Like everyone, whatever they're saying, all the haters and all the stuff, maybe they're right. So everything that, if you're listening to this podcast, I think chances are most of the people listening, they probably don't have a like-minded community, a like-minded individuals that they can kind of share these things with, right? Which is why you probably listen to this podcast. But I'll tell you, everything that you're thinking of when you're about to go to sleep at night goes through every single entrepreneur's brain. Even myself to this day, like my own, we all have these insecurities. We all have these little doubts every night. You have to battle those things. And that will never change, my friend, right? It's just what it is. The difference, though, between someone who's successful and someone who's not is you still do the things that are required of you, right? It's like a duty. So that's kind of like, the structure there. And that's what I felt of like, all right, we have this debt. We can A, run away, or B, figure it out. And I'm never the type of person to run. I can't. I just can't. How can I be with myself if I know deep down that I was the one who ran away? No can do. I'm sorry. I cannot do that. A lot of people around us told us that you just run off or whatever. No, that's not who I am. I know I got set up. I know this was unfortunately an unfortunate circumstance. We need to figure this out. So what we did was we went back to the basics. So one thing I'll tell you, Wayne, is when you go to that level, all you have is free time, which is the most important thing, because now, especially in America, we are dying by death by 1,000 cuts. We don't even know it, right? We're doing this groceries here. Like this person's calling us, this person's texting us, social media. Like I can go on and on of how many dopamine things that we have every single day, which we don't even realize of how much we're struggling in life because we have all these stimuluses coming in, and then 10 years later, we're like, we screwed up. But in that circumstance, when you lose everything, you go from being a multimillionaire to zero. You have all the time in the world, So we're like, all right, what can we do to make this back and to never ever happen, like this ever happen again, right? So we went back to the basics, which is like, okay, we need to relaunch our digital marketing agency because that's all we know, right? So literally in like 11 days, we pulled in $92,000, right? Of like, yeah, well, it took some time. It wasn't like from 0 to 11 days. No, it was like when the plan took some time for sure. It took a few months to like really craft an irresistible plan that we know is going to work. But the day we launched it, the day we said, we're going to do this, 11 days we did 92K. We're like, oh, no problem. We're back, right? And that just showed me the power of the online business model, of like the service-based business model specifically. And I know a lot of people kind of watching this, they may be like, I don't know, is this the right business model? Is a digital marketing agency dead? It's better now than ever because so many people know about it, right? So we just went back to the roots, our skill sets, the things that we learned, and we leveraged the systems, process, and the team to be able to get back to where we need to be.
Take a breath, man. I mean, I'm choking over here just from this story. Dude, accountability, that internal dialogue is like such an interesting piece. Thank you for hitting on that, right? And you grew something so big, and then when you hit zero, right, you're laying there in your bed thinking, "Man, I'm a failure. Like, why did I even try? Why? Who am I kidding? Who am I to have attempted this?" Right? And everybody out there, right? We all have these same thoughts. Doesn't matter how big we grow. We're constantly thinking, like, "Oh man, now this is a fluke. This is a total fluke. Who am I? I don't deserve these things." Right? But you went back to the basics, back to consistent action, right? Obstacles happen. Obstacles are the way, they're the necessary part. The only thing that's actually going to stop you is yourself if you totally give up, right? Sounds like that's part of your message, huh?
100%, 1000%. I think, I can only speak like, at least being a man, trauma, in my opinion, for a man it's like medicine. Like you kind of need that to become someone who's capable, to become someone who's kind, who's generous, and someone who has the ability to fight when needed, right? Being a good man is someone who has the battle scars. That's just my personal opinion. And when I went through that experience, I realized like how much skills I actually became out of it, right? So if you're watching this right now and you're like, oh man, that like what I'm going through is tough, it's hard. My only thing that I will say for you is first and foremost, never feel sorry for yourself and view it as like gamify it, right? So I remember me and my brother, we were talking, my brother's name is Mo, and we were like, do we just like feel sorry for it? Like, do we cry? What do we do? I don't know what to do. So we were like, you know what? Let's just gamify this. Let's just see like how many more bad things that can happen to us and just like laugh about them, but then take consistent action. So we literally did that. I know it sounds a little psychotic maybe, but maybe that was our coping mechanism. I don't know, right? So gamify things to your advantage. Never view it as like, oh, this is something that is bad happening to me. No. It's like, this is happening for me. This is in my leverage and I can come out on top if I choose to. Everything in life is a choice.
Everything in life is a choice. Gamify it. It's happening for you. You said trauma is a medicine. There's a book called A Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. He was a Holocaust survivor. He tells the story about how he got through the Holocaust, like what he learned about the meaning of life. And it's essentially trauma. It's essentially trauma and suffering is the
Yeah.
meaning of life. It's like you need that to have happiness and have meaning.
Yeah. I remember even like myself before going through that experience, I used to talk differently. I used to be underconfident. All these things that weren't good for me, I was. And once I went through that, now I'm a completely different person in a good way, good for society, good for everyone around me, right? So just like you said, suffering, in my opinion, if you choose to look at it from a perspective that it's like the gym, right? When you go through the gym, it's not easy. Like who wants to just go pump iron? No, but it's like who we become after that. Same exact concept. And I think most people don't train their minds. They don't train it. Like they're not learning. The education is not there. They're not making themselves mentally stronger. I don't know why, but you know.
Yeah, we gotta want these battle scars, right? Work through it. This is how you become a better person. That is what is needed in life. You've been through it, my friend, and that's why you're crushing it. Launch My Agency is doing so well. I mean, if I can ask you one last question, and we have to start to wrap up here. There are other tons of other companies that will help people launch agencies. What makes you guys different?
You're absolutely correct. There's so many. It's like every day someone else is popping up, right? And the thing is, right, for us, when we launched my agency, the thing we had in mind was we are designing and developing this for ourselves. Of when we first started, what are the least amount of things that we need, meaning the least amount of inputs that we can put into our business to have the maximum results and the maximum success of being able to work with some really large brands, right? And being able to work with them in a way where we're not buying yourself another job or two, right? So for us, once we had that in mind, we were able to craft and design this franchise-like system that was basically for us, but we're able to license it out for other people. Whereas most other courses or most of the programs, you can say, they just can't replicate it. Like you just can't. How can you replicate 50 employees? How are you going to pay the payroll? You can't, right? So that in itself is like done, right? Most people, again, they have courses, and sometimes they say done for you. Like they're just taking it from us. That's not real done for you. That's just like templates and this like click and drop logos or whatever they're looking at. For us, everything is hyper customized with some of the world's best designers, developers, copywriters, content writers, project managers. I mean, I can go on and on of all the team members that we bring to our clients, and they're the ones who are building the business up for you from scratch. And it's not completely like passive or anything. It's semi-passive, right? So we're basically coming in from the logo to the website. We're designing, developing, writing all the content for it. From there, we set up some of the marketing material ourselves. So like whether it's Facebook ads, Google ads, LinkedIn, we use pretty heavily as well. We set up, our team comes in, sets it up for you. And then from there, once the leads start coming in, we have commission-only closers who we plug into your business who can start taking those calls for you and closing your deals on your behalf, representing your company, right? And then once that's taken care of, once the cash is coming in for your business, we also do all the client fulfillment for you, right? And in the client fulfillment, we're able to give you all our testimonials, all the case studies that we've worked for the past 8-9 years of our life, and now you can use them as your own. Who can replicate that? No one. Right? And throughout that process, what we're doing with you is we are training and developing you into the company owner and the company CEO that you need to become in order to run this business successfully. So that once, if the day ever does come, you are self-sufficient. You know how to take that thing to the next level. So we empower you. We give you all the tools, resources, SOPs, templates, and documents, and the team to be able to do that for you later on. Whereas other people, it's just a course. It's like, hey, watch 18,000 videos. Goodbye. Like, it's not like that with us.
I mean, the piece that I'm curious about, right, is like, and real quick, what, I mean, what are your partners, your clients, like, what is the piece that they're doing? It is done for you, right? What's the piece that's missing that they're actually,
Yeah, 100%. So, okay, let me make it very clear. The done for you is the structure of kind of like the house, right? Now, the clients, what they're responsible for is a couple things. Number one, they're the company owner and the CEO, which means it's similar to this. Our clients are Batman. We are their Alfred, right? So like we're the advisor, we're the consultant, but at the end of the day, this is our client's business, right? We don't take any equity in the business, at least at this point. So what they're doing is their roles are changing week by week, month by month, right? So for example, for the first week, it's like, what kind of business, what kind of agency do we select, right? What kind of specific digital marketing agency do we select? Once we hone into that, and it's not just like, oh, like, I feel like we should do this. No. We give some pushback on it, right? In a healthy way, because we want our clients and our business partners to be ultra successful. And picking the right type of business model, the right type of niche, and the right type of offer is like picking the right partner for your marriage, right? So it's the most important piece. So we have a lot of worksheets. We have a lot of back and forth one-to-one conversations like this. There's a lot of research phase that we have our clients do. And again, when I say a lot, it's not like 10 hours a day. Minimum what we require is 5 hours a week. If they can spend at least 5 hours a week, then we can work with them, right? So their roles kind of change. And then once we hone into what that niche is going to be, we help them with the offer and we train them on how do we craft irresistible offers so that if they ever want to launch a new offer themselves, they know exactly what to do. Same thing with marketing. Here's what we're doing. Here's why we're doing it. And here's how to do it. So you have the necessary skill set to do it. Same thing with closing. Same thing with client fulfillment, upgrading, retention. And I can go on and on of all the different pieces of what it takes to build a business.
Nice. So you're actually learning everything, and they're doing all those things also side by side with you, your
Correct.
team as well. Nice. Love it. Love it. So, Zohar, as we start to wrap up, right, the show's called Journey to Legacy. So I always like to ask successful entrepreneurs, what does legacy even mean to you? Because it used to have the definition that was just, I want to be a billionaire. That's legacy. And so what does legacy mean to you? And what do you think the legacy is that you want to leave on this world?
That's a very good question. I think maybe why I was chosen or like being born in this world was to try to fulfill my truest potential and to the highest level that I can possibly get. And I'm able to do it, at least at this point in my life, through the things that I've done in the past and the suffering that I've gone through, the trauma that we talked about. So you don't have to go through every little thing yourself. I've done this over and over and over again. So now I feel like it's my right. And like, this is something, Wayne, before we launched my agency, we were good with our business and software. We even had a farm, by the way. So we're good. But we realized like there is a need in the market for this, like truly. And I kind of felt like I was going to let people down, that we could easily help like this. We could change their lives, not only their life, but their families' lives, just like this, if we wanted to. And we just kept going back and forth. Do we do this? Do we not? So we were like, all right, let's roll it out. And I feel like I'm able to give back to the world and kind of like get people out off maybe their 9 to 5s or whatever the current lifestyle that they're currently in, and give them the tools that are necessary for them to be able to do that in a way where they're not sacrificing their personal health, their personal time, and all the stress that typically comes from most new business owners. I'm able to do it in a way where it's just leveraged out as much as possible, and we take on a lot of the risk for them through my team. So I mean, at this point, I think that's probably what my legacy is going to be. But as we go along, when I get maybe 35, 40, 55 years old, it may change a little bit. But yeah, that's what I'm currently up to.
Nice. So it sounds like it's not just setting yourself up, right? So you were good, but you had this desire to help others, this feeling like you were put here for a purpose to leave a bigger impact for others. And that's now what legacy actually is.
100%. So there's different phases, right? In the beginning, when you become successful, yeah, we all have these personal things that we want to spend money on this, go on this vacation, whatever, right? I did all that. And I was like, it was cool, but it's like a little empty, right? It's like still like, I feel like something's missing. I was like, all right, now let's get my family. So like I moved my family to Dubai, by the way. They currently live there. Rent, everything completely taken care of, right? That was like, whoa, that was amazing. Like that felt way better than the things that I did for myself, right? And then we did that, like everyone's taken care of. What do we do next? So then we're like, okay, let's give this to the people who think like us, who want to get out from that rat race, who want to get out from the golden shackles, we can say, to be able to get to the lifestyle that they want to get to. And in return, here's my thought process. Not only do they do it for themselves, but they're also probably hopefully going to think for their families, for their loved ones. And when they do get there, how are they going to get there? Well, they're going to have a business, a service-based business that they're doing so much good for the world that when they do really good for the world, what does that mean? Their clients are also making money, which means those, like, it just goes on, right? So now when I think about it, I'm like, oh my God, we are, responsible for changing thousands and thousands of people's lives directly and indirectly. So that's just like every night I think about it and I'm like, I can sleep like a baby.
Beautiful, my friend. Absolutely amazing. You just essentially described the ripple effect, is what I call it.
Correct.
Right? We're
Yeah. You have
here
better
to
words
do
for it.
good to others, and they do good to others. They grow businesses that helps others, on and on and on. Thanks so much for being here today, man. If everybody wants to learn more about you, about Launch My Agency, where's the best place to go and find out?
So what you can do is go ahead and follow me and DM me the word podcast 2025 on my Instagram. So my personal Instagram is Zarar Ameen, which is ZARARAMEEN. So just go ahead and DM me the word podcast 2025. Again, that's ZARARAMEEN. And from there, you probably hear a personal voice message from me or a personal video. But yeah, it's gonna be, I would love to personally get in touch and communicate with you myself.
Beautiful.
Oh, you know what? One more thing, actually. One more thing that I want to do special for your specific audience. I want to give you, so whoever DMs me that word, I'm going to send you a couple of different videos that have not been released to the internet. Like you cannot find them on Google. You can't find them anywhere. So I want to personally give you this amount of value because you listening, for example, to Wayne, that means like you are pretty serious about like potentially changing your career, changing your trajectory in life, right? So I want to, me be showing up to this podcast, I want to give you the most amount of value that I possibly can. So when you DM me that, I'm going to send you something that is a little special gift for your viewers.
Yeah, I greatly, greatly appreciate it. I've been on the edge of my seat this whole time, and so I'm probably gonna go pop that in just to figure out what's on the other side, right? Keep learning from each other, right? From individuals like you. And so, everybody, please go check them out on Instagram. Shoot them a DM. Keep learning. Keep moving forward, right? That's essentially all it takes. End of day.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Thanks so much. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for being here today.